Welcome to Mose Cybersecurity Institute. My name is Colin Marr and I'm the Global Account Director responsible for security solutions within the organisation. Today we're continuing our series on compliance obligations that organisations face, and the topic of today's video is PCI DSS, or should I say the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. Effectively, these PCI DSS is a set of standards designed to ensure that all companies that either accept, process, store, transmit any credit-related information do so and maintain that information in a very secure environment. And it also importantly applies to any organisation, regardless of its size, number of transactions, that it accepts, transmits or stores any credit card or personal card data information. And I think importantly, it's good to remember that, and typically when people think of transactions, they just think of electronic transactions. However, it extends well beyond the scope of purely electronic-based transactions. And I think most of us find ourselves in a position where we transact over the phone, because not all organisations have the ability to transact or choose to transact electronically. And so even if you only accept phone payments, you are still caught within the remit of this legislation. And again, it looks at all businesses, irrespective of your size or industry that you operate in, that store, process, transmit payment cardholder information, and it imposes that same obligation upon you to ensure that you are PCI compliant. And importantly, merely using a third party doesn't absolve you of that responsibility. And I think that's a really important distinction, because often we like to align ourselves with organisations that can provide services to augment our core skills or capability, and to obviously mitigate to some extent the risks that potentially imposed upon us. Unfortunately, if you capture credit card information, even if you're utilising a third party, there is still an obligation placed upon you as an organisation to ensure that that party is acting appropriately in the storage and transmission of the information that you provide to them. And obviously, it's incumbent upon you to ensure that you validate that they've not only acting appropriately, but are complying with the standards that are now enforced across the industry. And ultimately that means that PCI DSS is something that can't be ignored. It's something that's relevant and it applies to all organisations that accept transactions of any kind. And it's an important distinction, because often people don't see that accepting debit cards or other forms of payments would be caught up with legislation. However, it captures all payments, whether they be delivered via a debit transaction, a credit card, or any electronic means. And it ensures that that data is secure. And I think that's probably the very heart of this legislation, is to expand the scope and ensure that all organisations, irrespective of their size, all are complying with the same standards. And that ensures that hopefully that your personal information or credit information will not find itself disclosed in the public domain by either an inadvertent or fraudulent action. And that's not always on the part of the organisation. There's many people out there that are looking to access your personal information and compromise organisations that are trying to deliver services to you. And it just reminds us that we all have to be vigilant in terms of not only the information that we provide, but also the organisations that we interact with, so that we're not inadvertently exposing ourselves to some type of cyber-related risk as a result of selecting the wrong type of organisation to interact with. Or at least it prompts us to ask the question of the companies we're doing business with, so that we have a reasonable level of comfort that they not only, one, understand, but two, we believe that they're complying with their obligations. Again, thank you so much for your time and attention today, and we look forward to delivering the next instalment. Thank you.